I mean, Prabhupada never paid attention to the bogus gurus, right? All these Maharishi yogi, this yogi, that yogi. He never paid any attention to it, right?
That's
Well, he
true.
paid it. He was aware of it, but
Yeah,
what could he do?
right, right. He
He
never,
was essentially a prisoner of ignorant people, and if they had been faithful and if they had been devoted, that would have been nice.
right.
But they weren't. And the good guys, supposing I was supposedly a good guy, if the good guys let it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't imagine that these guys could be bad.
All right. I'll share some of your pictures. Is it
Totally
okay?
Mhm.
Is it
Sure.
okay? Okay. So this is, hold on, let me see here.
The Rupa didn't come on yet.
Not yet.
Maybe I should give her a call.
Maybe.
But can you give her a call?
No, cannot do it. So here's his altar. He's working on here. Nice. And this is the space you have, huh?
Yeah.
Who's working on it?
Jagannath Das Prabhu.
It was an ugly room before. Now, I hopefully made it
Right.
prettier.
Oh, this is the room, huh? Wow.
Very nice.
Cool. And this is the altar here. Kornitai deities. Your wife is connected with ISKCON also?
No, not at all. She's not even a vegetarian. So I need to learn how to cook better. Make her a vegetarian.
Okay, well.
Huh.
That's why
Well, if
my,
you keep on going, I suspect she will become one.
but yeah,
Try.
altar in a hidden little closet for now. Maybe I'll take it out in the main room in the future.
Okay. Let's see. I wanted to share some quotes. Where is it? Well, maybe I can just play this video a little bit of that. Narayan Prabhu will like the video. I know that. Okay, I'll share this video. These are just a little history about. We have a similar. Okay, let me share the screen so people can see that what we're talking about. Who's this here? Let me share. Okay, so this video, there's two devotees talking about the Krishna consciousness movement, and they've been through the ringer, as they call it, and they're just sharing their experience. And these are these are Western body devotees. So I'll play the video. 1 second here. The sound.
In the military, I served in the Marines for a stint of time. I played in hardcore punk rock bands. I served as a brahmachari for 2 years, and I'm curious to hear about your temple living. Because I know you were talking about in evolution. You went out on the pick, which, by the way, Showery wrote my initiation recommendation when I was in
yeah, Shari trained me up in Hawaii, man.
Yeah, he's
well, that's another scam that's going on. The whole movement with these fake gurus and shit. Now everybody's propping up Radhanath. Yo, Radhanath paid for the killing of a devotee. Radhanath was involved in the whole New Vrindavan shit that was going on with Kirtanananda. And when you would go up at the house on the hill, they'd have little kids running around naked in the house. Listen, a lot of crazy shit went on in New Vrindavan, and Radhanath was part of it. Now they're propping him up like he's the big guru of the movement. He never glorifies. If you see him, I've seen him get on the news, never talked about Prabhupada, never glorified Srila Prabhupada. So, and now he has all his little followers that sit
Yoginis.
there, Ray Capo and the rest of them. I'm like, dude, come on, man.
Can I tell you a funny story?
Sure.
So, when I was down in Long Beach, I was staying at the temple down there. It's funny that you brought up Raghunath because I was staying at the temple down there, and I guess Purcell thought I was like moving in on his girl, and I was just like, dude, like what the fuck? No, like here in like I was raised in the South, and in the South people call each other's like they call women sweetheart, shit like that. It's like a term of endearment, and he thought I was like making moves. I'm like, no, dude, like I was just trying to be nice and stuff. And then I saw him at a judge show, and I was like, I'd already apologized to him preemptively, and I was like, he came up to me smiling. I was like, yeah, man, I just want to be a man, like apologize to you in person. I don't want things to go sideways, you know. And he was like, oh, like that. I was like, what the.
Guys, man, whatever, dude. That band Shelter was always corny to me, getting on stage wearing fucking dope. And now they're promoting the whole bogus fucking gurus. They're promoting people that fucking were facilitated molesting fucking children.
Yeah.
Their guru before that was Danadar. That's it. Danadar, my friend got raped by Danadar's friend in the Gurukul, and Danadar beat the shit out of the kid. The scoundrels are going to be found in politics or exploiting people through religion. And that's what this is. And Prabhupada's the guru. He never appointed any of them to be guru. And just see all the shit that they've done since Prabhupada left the planet. So that's just proof right there.
I'm gonna tell you another story. Like I did service.
The philosophy of Krishna consciousness and what Prabhupada said. That's the law. That's the law of the universe. And that's above any fucking Roe versus Wade or any of this bullshit that's going on right now. You know, I'd rather really talk about something a little more tangible, which is the blood clot music that's coming out and how, you know, we're going to be...
Okay, so there was just some insight into what's going on the internet about, you know, the insufficient gurus. So people are waking up, as you can see. It's not just us.
Well, you know, two people, Satsvarup and Bobby Hebert, wrote that they are completely disgusted by the fact that for 20 years they were forced to cover up for the GBC as a matter of policy.
I see. Interesting. Bobby Hebert wrote that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He said that he started getting, in other words, the GBC, certain people that were considered, like Satsvarup considered to be the knight in shining armor, and Hebert is supposed to be the big dude, and they just told them they would tell them exactly what to write. In fact, they would write what they were supposed to say, then they had to deliver it as though it were their own speech for the GBC.
Interesting.
I think that's an incredibly important aspect that I hadn't even thought of before.
So you're saying the GBC was monitoring every move that the devotee was doing in writing and...
Well, not the devotee, that their fellow GBC, the Satsvarup and Bobby Hebert.
Oh.
But what they did was they told them what to say, and they had to say it as a matter of duty. That's pure Catholic Church stuff. What you do is you create whatever you do, you cover for everybody.
You cover and you cover up also.
Well, yeah, you cover for them and you cover up what they're doing, but you don't do it yourself. It's not like, that's my opinion. The Satsvarup doesn't say, this is what I believe. It's not that Bobby Hebert or, Vishwakarma says, this is what I believe. They were told exactly what to say, exactly how to say it. And they were considered, if you want to be a powerful GBC member in good standing, this is what you have to do. It's huge. That by itself is a huge expose. I mean, do you see that?
Yeah, I saw that, but I did not read it. So let me try to find it in the meantime, so we can
That
go
would be
over that.
fantastic if you can, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
I think Sutsroops is on the same link as Bobby Hebert's.
Okay. Let me look that up.
People are coming on, right? On
Yeah.
board. What happened to Jagannath Das? Where's his picture?
He's
Oh,
here.
he's here.
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
he's, my God, we were all despairing. Where was Mohit? What happened to you, Mohit? How come you haven't been on?
I'm opening some packages here, so I turned my video off.
Oh, no problem.
No, I don't mean that. I
Hare
mean,
Krishna Prabhu. Hari Bol, Jai, Dandvat Pranam. Hari Bol, Jai, Prabhu. Was busy in work, Prabhu.
were you on for the last few days?
No, Prabhu. After I've been around after 25 days, 25, 30 days, been in the meeting. Hari Bol.
Uh-huh. Well, we missed you.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. That's all your love and blessings.
Yeah, it's like once we have an Istagosti that is a real Istagosti, people are like family members. Either
Hari,
they're
Hari,
there
Hari.
and they're sitting around the dinner table or they're not,
Yes, Hari Bol. Yeah.
So when you are, no, we're not blaming you, but what we know is that it's very grief striking if you're not there.
Okay, so we have this document by Bobby Hebert. His Satsarup Das Goswami has written this. So, who wants to read? Rupa can read, I guess. Let me mute her.
Is Rupa there?
Yeah, she's on now. Okay.
Satsrup Das Goswami. In writing about what people know of me, I thought to remark that for 20 years in Krishna consciousness, from about 1966 to 1987, I resented that I was taken advantage of by people who knew they could manipulate me. I had to represent the GBC by writing position papers. I had to go on assignments to investigate apostates. And I had to get involved in politics and in so doing, compromise my integrity. I was used by the GBC as the sadhu in situations where they wanted to put forward someone who was innocent and neutral. I wrote a paper, the official ISKCON GBC position paper, against associating with B.R. Sridhar Maharaj. It actually didn't contain my voice, rather it had the input of all the members of the GBC, especially Rameshwar. But people took it that I alone wrote the paper. The followers of Sridhar Maharaj considered it offensive and they came after me to reprimand me. I was very embarrassed by this. I wrote an apology to Sridhar Maharaj before he passed away. I excused myself from any offenses I may have made to him. My having to write that paper was not one of the main causes for my resigning from the GBC, though many of these things happened at around that time. They certainly had a cumulative effect. I resigned from the GBC primarily because of my migraine headaches, which were prominent at that time and which prevented me from attending GBC meetings. I could not enter the hall where the meetings were held without getting a migraine, and so I really felt myself incapable of being a GBC representative. But I also quit because there was such a strong feeling from the grassroots members of ISKCON that the GBC had done something very wrong. So I thought that since the GBC's integrity was in question, it was the right move to resign. I thought others too ought to resign, but no one resigned except me.
Wow. This is a very revealing letter.
That's something far deeper than I imagined. I always thought they were operating on their own.
So you see, so Narayan Prabhu, you realize something too here, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is amazing.
Seems like he's getting headaches for a reason, migraines.
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't get that when he was not a,
Yeah, he had migraines. But the funny thing is, even in this essay, he doesn't connect the fact that his migraines were caused by what he had to do. You see? I mean, he talks about he would do and he'd get migraines. It never occurred to him that the migraines were caused by the Vaishnava aparad that he was forced to utter.
Yeah, Vaishnava Prad forced to utter. Yeah, this is a big situation. These appointed, illegal gurus, they're committing Vaishnava Parad, at least
Yeah.
to
But
Srila
here we're
Prabhupada.
talking not about so much gurus, we're talking about GBC.
GBC, yeah, GBC, many of these GBC are gurus also. So they're all in one boat headed to the deep end.
Okay, 1 second.
Anyone else have any comments, Prabhus? Rupa, anything?
Well, I was just surprised that Satsarup he seems kind of like a good guy from this statement that he wrote. And I always assumed that he was one of the key people involved in the conspiracy against Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, these people have multiple layers to their personality and what they did, so it's very hard for us to figure out how corrupt and totally bonkers they are, I mean, they rendered wonderful service to Srila Prabhupada, no doubt, without a question. But after the hijack, after 1970, when Prabhupada wanted the direction of management to be implemented, they staged the whole show to not follow it. And
Right.
eventually they became so-called zonal acharyas, then successor acharyas, then they fell down. And now in 1987, they apologized. So 1970, 80, 87, how many years is that? 20, 77, 21 years, yeah. So, and now as these things are coming out with the invention of the internet, I actually sent a letter this is very interesting that I sent a letter to Bir Krishna that I'd like to share here about this actual position that we're facing in ISKCON. So I sent a letter to Maharaj. I sent him that video. Guru business is in trouble. I told him we need to save the movement by bringing Srila Prabhupada back in the center again, as he was back pre-1970 as the Acharya for the next 10K years. Then I mentioned whatever has been done by the insufficient Diksha Gurus has already been done and cannot be changed. We have limited time as we know it, and you are probably feeling the desperate need to help with the solution. So this is very interesting that we're reading Satsarup's letter. And then I sent a message to Bir Krishna today. So maybe some of these gurus or GBC, they will come out clean, meaning that, okay, whatever has been done, we acknowledge that, but let's talk about the solution, to keep Prabhupada's movement pure and transparent. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Narayan Prabhu left, huh? Okay. I guess we can watch some Mohit Prabhu. Who else is here?
I'm
Hare
here.
Krishna.
Oh, okay.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I mean, I'm also shocked to see that, great devotees which try to follow Prabhupada purely, but because of politics, they have to resign and such things happen. They have been, they are made puppets in front of people. So that's like horrible, but it's life. It's true materialistic life. So we can't do anything.
Well, let's just take into account one thing for sure, Mohit. There are no great devotees. There are no great followers of Prabhupada. That's all an illusion. It's all it's all a fiction that they created.
Yeah.
None of us are great devotees. None of us are worthy to touch
Even
the
close to-
Lord's feet.
Yeah. Even close to being devotees.
But then also, Prabhu, those who are trying, right? Those who are trying their best to be there,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and people
Okay.
are influenced from them. But
Yeah, well, that's
Issues
true. And the way I look at it, instead of us criticizing bogus gurus and their disciples, I'll let them do what they want to do. Let them have fun. They're not going to get very far. They're not going to make much advancement. You know, it's all going to be a hoax. But at the same time, we can continue pushing the idea of Prabhupada being the Sampradaya Acharya.
Yeah.
And then either they will continue doing their nonsense or they'll give up their nonsense and join us, one or the other. But we don't have to like condemn them, you know. All we need to do is to set a better example that actually works. And that's what the League for 10K is engineered to do, to create an example that they will that they can see. And it's all over the place now. People are screaming their heads off for Prabhupada all over the internet. All these chat groups, all these people that are busy, usually just talking largely nonsense, they're all screaming for Prabhupada now. So we're getting somewhere. So we just need to guide them gently how to bring Prabhupada into, because they may be wanting Prabhupada, but then they sit down to have kirtan and they make up their melodies, they make up their dances, they make up everything. So it's not going to help them any. So we need to make it clear that it must be Prabhupada kirtan style, chanting, dancing style, mridanga style, kartal style. It has to be a replica of Prabhupada. And if it's a replica of Prabhupada, it will work for the very simple reason that Prabhupada did fine himself. And he set an example, but we decided to run off with a bit in our teeth going in different directions. And that's not good. Going off on our own. So whatever you've seen, forget about it. All the people, all the gurus, forget about it. If they want to join us eventually or join us, if they want to join Prabhupada eventually, we'll keep the door open for them to do it. But they will not be able to come back to join Prabhupada and then try to take over the movement again. They're going to have to surrender to Prabhupada, not exploit Prabhupada again.
Yeah, around they're basically, you know, on their way out, like we discussed, you know.
The conclusion to this discussion is, Prabhu, that Prabhupada's Vani is the final authority which can take you back to Godhead. That's the real thing and real Krishna consciousness. That's the only thing we can preach, right? Yeah.
And he did what he did. He came here from Krishna Loka. He represents Krishna from Krishna Loka. His chanting is the sound vibration of Krishna Loka. Why would anyone want to chant differently than that? Well, they start listening to all sorts of gurus here and there in India, fishermen, eunuchs in Calcutta. They keep listening to all these people saying, this got to be the real thing. This has got to be the authentic thing. Because they think the Krishna consciousness is cultural. The Krishna consciousness is not cultural. It's transcendental. There's nothing cultural about Krishna consciousness.
Exactly. It's not a religion. It's like you're associating with a pure devotee and you're getting things which are like hitting your heart, and it will change your heart automatically, right? Rather than making it a cult or a religion. Yeah.
That's truly beautiful. Truly beautiful, Prabhu. Thank you. And remember, Thakur Bhaktivinoda said, he reasons ill who say Vaishnavas die, when thou art living still and sound. Vaishnavas die to live, and living spread the holy life around. So doesn't that clearly say that Prabhupada is still alive?
Yeah.
Exactly, he's alive. If you're chanting around clearly, yeah.
He reasons ill who say Vaishnavas die. Well, if anybody says Prabhupada died, he was reasoning ill. When thou art living still and sound. Well, Prabhupada's tape recordings are definitely sound, aren't they? More so sound than anything Thakur Bhaktivinoda could come up with, because they didn't have tape recorders back then. right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, Vaishnavas die to live, and living spread the holy life around. So we can say Prabhupada is. Now people are going to argue, well, what about Bhaktisiddhanta? What about Gorkashore? What about Jagannath Das Babaji? You know, what about all of these? What about Thakur Bhaktivinoda? It doesn't matter. What about all the other Vaishnavas in the Vaishnava Sampradaya? We don't have to say, oh, where are they now when we need them? All we need is one pure devotee.
That's it. One moon, like
Haribol.
Prabhupada says. One moon
Yeah,
to the
like
sun.
Prabhupada says, just one devotee who follows me purely, just one out of 100 Prabhupada wanted. Yeah, Haribol.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but it doesn't. But he can say that, but it doesn't mean he'll get it. He won't get it because nobody is qualified. But if somebody, maybe someone will be qualified, because if people, the way I look at it, you have one kirtan being played on a machine,
Yeah.
on the internet, say, and then you have 25 headphones attached to it. So everyone is listening to the same exact kirtan being chanted by Prabhupada. And they study that for several hours every day. Then when the time comes for them to have kirtan, when they open their mouths, they don't have any nonsense kirtans to chant. They don't have any bogus GBCs. They don't have any bogus gurus. They don't have any bogus anything. All they have is Prabhupada chanting. And when they chant according to Prabhupada, people will be electrified. If people come in from their big kirtans out in the street or out in the wherever they're going, making themselves rich and famous with kirtan, if they come in and listen, they'll be flabbergasted. And we won't, what's up? And they say, well, when do I get to chant? You don't. You get to listen. You don't get to chant. You always chant with the devotees, yeah, but you don't get to chant your style. You don't get to do a whole no hard and fast rules thing on us. And to tell you the truth, chanting Prabhupada style kirtan was the only way people chanted until 1970. It was only after the GBC decided to break with Prabhupada, to rebel against Prabhupada, that they started saying no hard and fast rules means everybody can chant their own kirtan melody. And that way, every temple president wanted his congregation to chant in a certain way that they developed in their temple, so that they would eventually become the authority. You see?
Exactly. Yeah, bro. That's the real heart truth which we have
But
fought
it only came
for
along
years
later,
with
and the Chutananda and people like that created it. They created this idea of no hard and fast rules. It wasn't there before. I predate that. When I was in the temple room, if anyone deviated even slightly from Prabhupada style kirtan, somebody came over and told them to straighten themselves out. Nobody chanted differently than Prabhupada in 1967, 68, 69. No one would have any reason to. Nobody would even dream of it. Why would they? We were all missing Srila Prabhupada. Why would we chant differently than Prabhupada?
Of course.
That all came along after 1971.
I mean, anyone who's heard of Prabhupada chanting, if Prabhupada is chanting, you can just feel that bliss, that pure bliss coming from Krishna, right? And
Yes.
you can just feel the other chantings being done by other devotees, right? So they're trying their best, but Prabhupada is the main gateway to go back to God. Yeah.
They're doing their best, meaning they're doing their best to create their own style. Just like a rock and roll band. They don't all sound the same, right? In fact, if they do sound the same, they'll be accused, you're copying that band over there. It's more like rock and roll than it is like kirtan.
Exactly, bro. Yeah.
So we need to go back to the source, Prabhupada.
That's Prabhupada. That's Prabhupada's chanting. That's Prabhupada's kirtans. Search it online, you'll get it. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, so it's not going to be difficult. But the difficult part, now, somebody wrote about how they stole all the ISKCON temples and all that. And I said, I wish I had that essay up. I wish I could have projected it to you all. Because I said, all you need is a 3-4 car garage. If you want a temple, 3-4 car garage, put up an altar. We had have people with a shower, toilet, shower, stove, cooking, and then Prabhupada Kirtan. What's the difficulty? Why do you have to have a big temple? And I went into great detail describing how that could be worked out very nicely just in a 3-car garage or 4-car garage for cars, just or a warehouse. And it sounded so weird. And then I said, and then after 6 months or so of doing that, we had a temple because Hansuduta and I went to Berkeley and we created a temple. So many devotees came. Do you know who came? Lochan came. Lochan's the person that made the Prabhupada murtis. It was his garage. In other words, you don't need anything to start a temple. All you need is the desire to chant Hare Krishna and to engage others in devotional service, to feed them prasadam. That's all you need. You don't have to have a big fancy temple. We got the big fancy temples, but unfortunately,
Point to be noted, bro. Yeah, bro.
the big fancy temples have gone off and become like Catholic churches. They're not
I felt this.
real.
Exactly,
Huh?
Prabhu. I felt this feeling which you're saying, Prabhu. I was in Barsana last week. So they are like devotees there, Prabhu. They live under some small trees and they chant, and then they've made their homes. Just a small home, giving prasadam. And it's not always about huge temples and huge gatherings and huge everything. It's a skyscraper building without the base being strong. So that's what I have felt, and Prabhu.
So, but the key is, are they chanting exactly Prabhupada melody? That's the next step. Because when we started the Berkeley Temple, Hansuduta, myself, Lochan, and others, Hari Basara, all these devotees that are still there, when we started that temple, we weren't chanting pure Prabhupada Kirtan. We only chanted Prabhupada melodies, yes, but we chanted them according to our own intelligence, our own taste. If we have this discipline to only chant exactly like Prabhupada, then we will succeed. Because how can we succeed if Prabhupada is not fully, purely, and completely represented year after year, decade after decade, century after century, and millennium after millennium? How can we do it? The minute we change it, Mohit Prabhu, do you know a game that people play in the West, at least, called a telephone game? Do you know that game?
Mario and all. No? Mario, Call of Duty. Yeah, bro. These type of games.
Well, do you know how it works? That somebody says something to somebody. They have 10, 12 people around in a circle. One person says something to somebody. That person tries to repeat it exactly to the next person. They keep on going around the circle until they get back to the beginning. And it's completely different by that time. So if you do your own sort of thing, your own kirtan, even in a room of people, it will be just like a party game. If you're there with those people, it will completely, do you see what I mean? It'll be completely distorted within an hour.
I mean,
So the
Prabhu,
whole-
you're talking about
That's why
house
we have to
parties
have
type of games,
Prabhupada
right?
each time, Prabhupada. What? Is this Mohit?
Yes, Prabhu, it was, you were talking about house type parties, right? Like in the West, people are like doing house parties, right? That culture is coming into India also. That Eastern countries are like partying like Western countries, like. So I
Well, more
was
so, yeah.
trying
I
to say
mean,
that the kirtans, these festivals like that, yeah, these days, yeah.
in the East, you're going to have people more faithful to, they have a guru, person they want to call guru, they'll be faithful to that person's style. But that person's making up their own style.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why we have to go to Prabhupada only for 10,000 years. Easy, no? It's
Yeah,
easier
yeah,
than making
Prabhu.
up
One
your,
answer I can, yeah.
it's easier than making
One
up
answer,
kirtan for 10,000 years.
yeah. I mean, if you're taking it from the real source, then it's style, right? Follow Prabhupada and your life will go smooth, right? Otherwise, it's all like anxiety full
Well,
of
but all you have
Maya
to
and
do
you'll
is,
be thrown out of
Prabhupada's
the
recordings are,
yeah, yeah.
one thing you can say about Prabhupada's recordings is they are very accurately Prabhupada.
Exactly.
100%.
It's like sometimes you can feel like you're speaking. Yeah.
Huh?
It's like,
There's big, Ramachandra, there's a big
it's
distortion
like
coming.
Krishna speaking directly. Hare Om, Hare Krishna, Hare
Who's
Bol,
speaking?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, who is speaking?
Oh, it's
There's
me.
a
It's me.
big distortion,
Okay.
crackling.
So I'll join again.
Ramachandra? Rupa Manjari Prabhu? What's going on? Where is everybody?
I'm here. I think Mohit's internet was slow.
Okay, what's going on? I heard my name. What's
It's
going
all,
on?
the sound is very distorted.
Oh, someone's connection is bad, not ours. So they got to fix their connection.
Well, I don't know. Is mine crackly?
No.
No, you sound fine.
Okay, but Mohit, I think it's Mohit that's speaking. His is very crackly.
Yeah.
Why not rejoin?
Yeah, he's stuck on the Zoom screen. So there we go. He's back. Okay. Okay, so we're back. Yeah. Okay, Mohit Prabhu, you're back. Okay. Let's see here. So what is the solution? Someone might ask.
Solution to what?
Solution to the problem.
Which is the problem?
Problem that is going on now in Prabhupada's movement.
The problem is create an alternative. And I was pointing out, you don't need a big fancy temple to create the alternative. It would be nice if we could take over 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 ISKCON temples. Maybe we can. We should try. But if we can't, let's not let that discourage us. We can take over a bunch of cheap warehouses and have kirtan.
Why? Yeah. Why do people want to take over stuff? Why not create? Prabhupada did not take over any Gaudiya Math temples. He created a movement, meaning that we don't want to create a movement, but we want to create a movement based on Prabhupada's teachings as it is.
Well, what are you
Okay.
saying? That we should start all over again making temples? Or should we try to take the temples that are Prabhupada's ISKCON temples that are there?
That will automatically come with time.
If we get people excited about the Prabhupada kirtans, then we can take up the ISKCON temples that are there and they'll simply invite the GBC out. They'll invite the gurus out. They'll invite anybody that wants to lead noisy kirtans out, and we'll just have Prabhupada kirtans in the existing ISKCON temples. So what I was saying is more, what do we do if we can't do that? If we can't do that, then we can work out of a garage the way we did in 1969.
Yeah.
You know? Does it make sense at all?
Kind of makes sense. You're saying start with a garage, but the garage is still you're not creating the whole program, but you're creating a center where people can practice Krishna consciousness and they're invited. So in that way, you can expand Prabhupada's movement, not your own movement. But
exactly, that's the fallback position. The desirable position is that people will want Prabhupada in the current ISKCON temples.
oh, I'm saying that will automatically happen in due course of time, which is we can see now.
Well, that's
I mean,
good, but what do we do during the due course of time? What do we do to get there?
you have to create these mini satellite centers or homes where people can come and ask and have prasadam and tell them about Prabhupada's movement, encourage them to chant Hare Krishna, all these things.
And also, you know, like in Sacramento, it's possible, isn't it possible that we could borrow Hindu temples?
Oh yeah, we've been doing that. Yes.
Yeah, borrow Hindu temples and have genuine Prabhupada kirtans being taught there.
Yeah.
And once you have that, you start inviting more and more devotees. And then when you start inviting more and more devotees, all the stray cats that can't find a place to perch because they have to become a disciple of whatever. But if you get all the stray cats in there, and then you start getting devotees from like Vaisheshika's temple to come, well, instead of doing their own kirtan, they'll do Prabhupada's kirtan in the Hindu temple.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. In other words, what we will need, and we need to get money to get it, is headphones. We need to get like 20, 30 sets of headphones. Now, somebody better, more than me, I'm not good at this sort of thing, somebody other than me will be able to determine what would be very good quality headphones and also not overly expensive.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, what's the bad part?
No bad part.
Okay, so we need to start turning in that direction. So the more we can convince people to do that, we can take up collection and get headphones. I mean, do you know anyone that knows a good headphone from a bad headphone?
I'm not a sound tech guy, but there should be someone out there that is listening.
Well, one would assume we're dealing in a technological age.
Right.
And if you go onto eBay and you go onto Amazon and stuff like that, you're going to find headphones advertised all over the place, and they say very expensive, very high quality headphone, costs practically nothing, which is probably not true. So you have to figure out what is a good headphone, and then have those headphones, and then have a mixer and have Prabhupada's kirtan playing, and have the people studying it.
Right.
That's what I wanted to do in Saranagati. We have the 6,000 square foot lodge. And what I wanted to do was take the top floor, which was sort of like a attic peak, put in headsets and invite college Harvard graduates to come and spend a certain number of weeks. They'd have to pay to sit there and study Prabhupada's lectures through headphones.
Right.
Harvard graduates, why not? People with PhDs, why not?
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So in this case, it's much simpler because all we need is to get. I would say we need 30 sets of headphones, maybe more, maybe 50 or 60 sets, but they should all be of the same quality, and they should all be very good sound quality. And then we keep them very carefully, not floating around in the room, but very carefully in boxes. And when the kirtan, when we see we have got 10 people for kirtan, to study kirtan, we bring out 10 sets. And they study. And when they're finished studying, they put them back in the box. Not wild, but completely self-disciplined. Does it work for you?
Yeah.
I sense there's some feeling that there's a bad part. What is the bad part?
I have no idea. You tell me. You're the censor.
No, I'm not. I'm asking you, do you see a bad part?
I don't see any bad part because usually when I was in charge of the programs here, I used to have programs when people hear from Prabhupada, you know. Then after that,
Yeah.
we used to discuss directly, you know. And
Yeah.
kirtans, I used to play Prabhupada's kirtans and Prabhupada's videos. So it's very easy for me to understand these things because that is what I was doing from the beginning, you know.
That's very good. But I
Yeah.
think we should limit our programs to like kirtans to begin with. Limit ourselves to like one thing, not too many lectures or anything like that. We can add those on, you know, as
Yeah.
part of programs, but we should concentrate on pure kirtan to begin with, I would say.
Right.
Do you like the idea?
Yes.
I mean, what's the bad part? It'll be so that it'll be
That's a great start. People get trained up in that and then move
Yeah.
to the next thing.
it'll be fun, it'll be pleasurable, and it will be incredibly blissful.
Right. Okay. Let's see if there's any questions.
So we
from
should
devotees.
start making a move in that direction, you know. Getting people interested. What would be nice is if we could take up special collections for headphones. And just create, I mean, everybody nowadays, as his uncle is an expert in high quality sound, you know, my God. And it's not even expensive anymore.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. We have some comments now. I will read from devotees online.
Sure.
Lakshmi said, Hare Krishna. Rob is
Who-
saying, Lakshmi,
that?
you got to look at the
Lakshmi?
screen. Yeah. Do you see the screen? It's everything is
Mhm.
projected on the screen. Lakshmi
Yeah.
saying, Hare Krishna. Rob is saying, how did Arjuna get it right in the Bhagavad Gita as it is? We'll address your question in a bit. Let me read all the comments, Rob. L and Anubhavananda is saying, please accept my humble obeisances, everyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Lakshmi saying, Jai Srila Prabhupada. He's my daily companion, Lakshmi says. And Lakshmi says, I can look up discourses, walks, bhajans for every day of the year. always fresh understanding each time. So beautiful.
By the
Prabhupada.
way, Prabhu, if this is Lakshmi, does that mean Hansaduda's wife?
Oh,
Different Lakshmi.
yeah. Prabhupada's transcendental vibration. I have no idea how to use the WhatsApp. The potency is lost when changes occur against the Acharya. How do you keep the potency of Krishna? Follow Prabhupada's teachings. Purity not diluted, Lakshmi says. Lakshmi says, it's
No,
enjoyable
but that is
in the
Prabhu.
garden
Just
listening to
one
Prabhupada's
second.
kirtans and bhajans.
1 second here.
Haribol.
What she's asking is exactly what we're discussing. You
Right.
keep Prabhupada's kirtan purity by hearing Prabhupada chanting in his purity.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like there's a separate process to keep Prabhupada's. You see, she's thinking, how do you not have Prabhupada and then try to chant like Prabhupada, not knowing how Prabhupada sounded?
It's not her. Rob is asking, how do you keep the potency of Krishna? She already knows how to
Okay.
do it.
Well, it could be anybody saying that, and I'm glad that he's saying. But if he says like that, then why not consider that Prabhupada can represent himself? Is
Sure.
that not what he did in 1965 and 66? Didn't he represent himself?
Who else
Why are
would
we so crazy as to think that we don't know how to hear Prabhupada when he represented himself and was recorded representing himself?
Yeah. Try.
This is the crunch, the chiropractic crunch that we are looking for, is to get to the point where the aha moment is, oh, it's not difficult, it's easy. We have to consider it's easy, not difficult, because it is easy. It's easy to do. It's not expensive to do. I mean, ultimately, what if we had $1,000 maximum, we could get the set up with a decent situation. It's not difficult to do. The difficult part is realizing how easy it is. And that's not a big, oh, what we do, oh, Prabhupada, where's Prabhupada now? How can we find Prabhupada? And these gurus are all bogus, and the GBC is even worse, and they're all terrible people. How can we have Prabhupada? Well, turn on Prabhupada, put your headphone on, turn on Prabhupada. Guess what? You've got Prabhupada.
Try.
Does that sound? It sounds almost impersonal, though, doesn't it?
Well, for some people who have been conditioned to think that Prabhupada is gone, certainly.
Yeah. That's the thing. We think, well, I want a living guru. I want a guy that farts, that passes stool, that eats, that smiles and says, how are you today, Prabhu? Oh, my day is made. My Guru Dev asked me how I was today, Prabhu. You know, I mean, why do we need that? If you wanted to go back to Godhead, wouldn't you take any means? I mean, suppose you're drowning in the ocean and a lifeboat comes by and tosses you a life preserver. Are you going to say, I don't want a life preserver that doesn't have somebody on it telling me how nice I am? Oh, you're so nice. Would you like to hold on to the life preserver? Well, wait a minute. Do you want to get saved, or do you want to have a nice fanny patting, chit chat, cozy conversation while you're trying to stop drowning in the ocean? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, the ego wants that.
Yeah. I mean, who needs chit chat when you can have, who needs chit chat when you can have a life preserver that works, that will preserve your life? This is the difficulty. People want to complain that Prabhupada is not here, but when they could have Prabhupada here by thou art living still and sound, if he's living still and sound, what does that do? It makes us disappointed. Oh, I want a living guru. I want somebody that will pat me on the head, and I want somebody like Prabhupada that will respond to me and make me feel good about me. Maybe that's the way devotees felt about Prabhupada, but look where it led them. Look where it led us all. We were all wanted to be praised and noticed by Prabhupada, and in the end, Prabhupada was poisoned to death. Did anybody care? No. Oh, who's going to be the next guru after Prabhupada? Can you imagine?
Yeah. Who's going to be the next guru after Prabhupada?
Is Jagannath still with us?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Great. Well, become absorbed and absorbable, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So where are we going from here?
Back to Godhead?
Well, of course you're going back to Godhead. Where else would you be going?
God. Okay. Let me see if there's any more comments. Second. I'm
That-
not sure if I
That
read
quote you keep saying Narayan Prabhu, it was on the Samadhi of Haridas Thakur. Srila Vanoda wrote it there in 1871. The
And what did he
Vaishnavas
write?
still living still and sound. Vaishnavas die to live, and living try to spread the holy name around. That quote.
Yeah. So where was it written?
The Samadhi of Haridas Thakur.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Mhm.
Considering the number of years between Haridas Thakur and Thakur Bhaktivinoda.
Mm.
So who wrote it on the tomb of Haridas Thakur?
Yeah, you're right. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote it, 1871.
Yeah. Amazing. Huh? How did you discover that?
I found it in the introduction to the book Songs of the Vaishnava Acharyas.
Really?
Hmm.
That it was on the tomb of Haridas Thakur?
Yep.
Do you have any idea who Haridas Thakur was in real life?
He was the one who chanted Hare Krishna more than any of us. He's like the Acharya of the Maha Mantra.
Yeah, that's true. A miraculous being, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
But you do know that, like, Rupa Goswami was a gopi, a manjari named Rupa Manjari in the spiritual sky. They came down. They all of Lord Chaitanya's associates came down from Krishna Loka. They were not originally from planet Earth or anything like that. They were all residents of Krishna Loka. So in that mood, do you have any idea who Haridas was before he was Haridas?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know.
Lord Brahma,
Oh, wow.
the creator of the universe. Isn't that amazing?
Quite amazing.
I'm sorry?
Quite amazing.
Yeah. So Lord Brahma, who, if you read his history, has got all sorts of encounters with different situations. And Maya comes at him from different directions. I mean, he's got quite a job ahead of him in Brahmaloka.
I like the
And
story
yet,
where
when
he's
he comes down as Haridas, as a little Muslim guy,
wow.
and chants, becomes the Namacharya, it's just almost mind-boggling that that could occur. What's happening with Ramachandra?
I'm just listening.
Well, I thought you were looking for some stuff to put up.
Nope. Let me see if I have something.
Do you have any more people commenting?
Oh, let me check that. Let's see here. Lakshmi, I don't know if I'm not sure if I read this. Lakshmi says, follow Prabhupada's teachings, purity not diluted. And then Lakshmi is saying, it's enjoyable working in the gardens, listening to Prabhupada Kirtan and bhajans. Joy.
Yeah. No, this is good, but that's selective, you see.
Explain.
A person can do that, chooses to do that, or chooses not to do that, right?
Yes,
Sometimes you choose to do it, sometimes you choose not to do it.
that's a good point.
But if this-
Selective. Yeah.
But if this is a kirtan being learned in a temple through headsets, it's no longer a question of, oh, well, today I'll do it, tomorrow I won't do it.
Right,
You
right.
do it
yeah.
every day. You do it every day.
Right.
Can you imagine if you do it every day for a month or 6 months or a year? Hearing Prabhupada and then going out in the street and chanting accordingly. How amazing could it be?
Joy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have a great advantage that unfortunately most people don't have. Because all the younger people are used to bogus kirtans being chanted by bogus gurus and bogus disciples of bogus gurus. You're used to it. I'm not. For
Right.
me, it is an incredible irritation. It's like sandpaper on the nerves to hear people chanting melodies other than those chanted by Prabhupada. For you guys, it's normal.
Right, you're right. Plus,
But
it's
for
more-
me, it's not normal. For me, it is just sort of like an agony to listen to. Because I heard Prabhupada chanting, and B, I heard people chanting in the style of Prabhupada chanting.
Right.
Did they chant accurately the way Prabhupada chanted? Of course not. We're conditioned souls. That's why it's so important to listen to Prabhupada directly. Not just to listen once or twice and then say, okay, now all I chant is Prabhupada melodies. Oh yeah? In your wildest dreams. This is not a Prabhupada melody that when you hear it once or twice. It's a Prabhupada melody when you have never heard anything other than the recorded melody, and then you chant. And that way it is, well, that's what we did in the beginning of the movement. Prabhupada would chant and we would respond. Then when Prabhupada wasn't there, we would chant, trying to sound as much like Prabhupada as possible, and everybody would respond, trying to sound as much like responding as possible. Was it accurate? No. Why? Because we are imperfect. So that's why listening to Prabhupada himself from Krishna Loka is the key.
Joy.
Ramachandra, do you see that as true?
Yeah, you make a very good point. That the optional part, and if you only hear Prabhupada, then that's the real success.
Yeah. And now, what about these people with their no hard and fast rules, which does not apply to kirtan melodies, by the way. No hard and fast rules applies to who is qualified to chant Hare Krishna. If you are a meat-eating guy, like if you're eating a hamburger and you hear the Hare Krishna mantra and you put your hamburger down for a second and join in the kirtan, you're qualified. That's what no hard and fast rules mean.
Yeah.
That you're not disqualified because you're eating a piece of cow.
Yeah.
Badly rendered cow in a hamburger bun. You're not. That's not what it means. It means that even if you're eating a badly rendered cow in a hamburger bun, you're okay for chanting Hare Krishna.
Right.
You're not disqualified because there's no hard and fast rules as to who can chant, not what they can chant. I mean, if you want to say, what can you chant? Okay, who can chant? That's fine, got it. What about what you can chant? Who's so stupid as to not chant like the pure devotee?
Madman?
Why do you want to chant at all if you don't want to chant like the pure devotee?
Well, a newbie to Krishna consciousness just you can't tell who's a pure devotee.
I'm sorry?
Someone new, a neophyte wouldn't know who is a pure devotee, so they're just
Well,
going
I
by
know,
what's
but
pretty.
Yeah, but when in the early days, when Prabhupada went out into the park, Tompkins Square Park, and led a kirtan, anybody that came by heard a pure devotee.
Mm.
So if you have a recording of a pure devotee, that's a pure devotee. Does that make sense at all?
Definitely, Prabhu.
Yeah. So it's not a question to accept this as a dogma. It's a question to understand it inside and out for what it is. But the standard of disciple to guru or guru to disciple is that whatever the guru says and how he says it and the inflection of how he says it, the disciple is supposed to render accordingly. In other words, the disciple is trying to emulate the guru. Emulate means not imitate. Emulate means to enter into the mood and spirit of the guru. And if you stop to think of it, if you want to go back to Godhead and the guru is back to Godhead, why would you want to do something else? Why would you want to turn it into something else?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why? I mean, it would be stupid, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's what happened because the GBC wanted to create their own gurus and they wanted to create their own kirtans. They would chant horrible kirtans in front of Prabhupada. Instead of Prabhupada leading the kirtan, they would chant horrible kirtans. 1971. My deepest regret is that I didn't scream, stop, let Prabhupada chant. Why would anyone want to chant differently than Prabhupada?
Yeah.
I mean, he is the pure devotee, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not the pure devotee. So if he's the pure devotee, I'm not the pure devotee. As much as I can chant like him, I'm getting closer to being a pure devotee. That's the process. It's been the process with every guru, every disciple since time immemorial. Why suddenly with Prabhupada, the only guru which we're going to have in the next 1,000 years, why would it suddenly be that no hard and fast rules means chant any way you damn please? In the face of Prabhupada, against Prabhupada, jumping like a kangaroo. Why? Why? Anyhow, I'm talking a lot. Ramachandra, why don't you take over? You're in charge.
All right. Let's see if there's any more comments. A very ecstatic every day. Prabhupada's sound vibration softens the heart of all. Comments online.
Couldn't understand what you just said.
It's saying a very ecstatic every day. She's talking about Prabhupada's kirtans. Prabhupada's sound vibration softens the heart of all.
Amongst other things, yes.
Right.
Who's writing that?
That was Lakshmi,
Who is Lakshmi?
the spirit soul.
What?
I don't know. It's some devotees watching online on our Facebook. On our.
You don't know. I have an idea who it is.
No idea.
Oh, I see. Well, Lakshmi Prabhu, if you introduce yourself, we'll be happy to hear your life story.
Good.
Because it's the Gosti. If Lakshmi can write, Lakshmi can speak. So
Yeah.
why shouldn't Lakshmi join into the association of Istagosti? Meaning that we all share the spiritual experience of relating to one another as pure spirit soul, not according to bodies.
Sure.
Okay?
Let me see if there's any other questions. Nope. Let's see.
Is Mohit still here?
No,
What happened to Mohit?
he had some network issues, he said.
Had some what?
Network issues.
Network issues, meaning what? He couldn't, what he was,
Slow
Sounds like-
internet.
Yeah, something to do with internet.
well, it's very painful for me to be in this Tagosi without Mohit.
Jai. He'll have to join next time. Or maybe he'll join later. Okay. Let me see here. Anyone have any questions online, they can ask. We're just, we have about 40 minutes. No, 45 minutes. 48 minutes. I will learn how to.
46 minutes.
46 minutes, yeah. I will learn how to join with the app, she says. Lakshmi is saying. So let's see. Jagannath Das Prabhu, any discussions or any questions, Prabhu, or anything you'd like to share on the screen? I can give you the host.
Not that I can think of now.
Okay. Let's see here. Let me check my email real fast. Let's see. If I have
So-
it. Yes, go ahead.
So,
Prabhu.
Go ahead.
Okay, we'll read this. We'll read this. Hold on. This was a question, I guess, and Narayan Prabhu's writing. Is it possible for humans to become into higher beings? That's the question. Who wants to read? Jagannath Das Prabhu, would you like to read? Or
Yes.
okay.
We are in Kali Yuga, the winter of the 4 cosmic seasons. No one
By
can.
the way, before you go further, this is Quora. That means somebody put up a question and they invite people to answer. What you're reading here is my answer.
What was the
So why don't you
question?
start over again from the beginning, and we'll take it into account like accordingly.
Oh, is it possible for humans to become into higher beings? We are in Kali Yuga, the winter of the 4 cosmic seasons. No one can advance to a higher birth in Kali Yuga due to the fact that the mechanisms for material advancement no longer exist. In the other 3 yugas, cosmic seasons, it was possible to take a higher birth than the one that you're currently in. But in this age, one can only take lower and lower births. In this age of Kali, no higher material births are possible, but due to the avatar consisting of the Hare Krishna mantra, one can take a higher spiritual birth with a subsequent higher material birth attached to it. Chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, cuts through the bad karma of nescience, karma of the birth, and if one refrains from 4 sinful activities, meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and sex life outside of marriage, one will at least take a human birth after the death of one's current body. Ideally, one could become a devotee of Krishna and not only chant the Hare Krishna mantra, but worship the deity of Krishna, read spiritual Krishna consciousness literature, have monogamous sex life for procreation of God-conscious children, eat vegetarian foods only offered to the deity of Krishna, and read from the writings of ISKCON by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Then your success in your present life, your next life, and all lives going ahead will be assured. Otherwise, there is no way to improve one's karma, quality of life, other than that. Jump on board. It's a wonderful experience that will make your life sublime.
Joy.
So over the period of time I've written, it turns out, without intending to, several hundred of responses on Quora, all of which are designed to make people into devotees.
That's great. That's a lot.
Yeah, so much so that they're offering to pay me to write, but I'm a little reluctant to accept payment for writing.
Quora gives money for content?
Yeah, that I can get paid for writing these articles.
Oh,
But I
interesting.
just want to preach. I don't want to get paid.
Any questions online, on Facebook, on YouTube? They can post. I'll check the comments. Okay, no questions. Let's see here. Why do you call it the winter of? Because it's the last yuga, or?
Oh, Kali Yuga is the winter of the 4 seasons. Satya Yuga is the spring.
What makes you say it's the winter? Why can't
Kali Yuga? Kali
Yeah.
Yuga is the winter. Well, which season would you say Kali Yuga is?
Everything's dying in the winter. In the spring, everything's growing. It's blossoming.
Yeah.
Blossoming.
In Kali Yuga, things are not blossoming.
right?
The trees are losing their green leaves. Nothing's growing. It gets worse and worse and worse until you cannot imagine it getting worse, even worse than it's getting. At which point, then Satya Yuga comes up again. Kalki comes and kills off everybody that's still around. And then Satya Yuga begins again, and people can live lives like paradise. Spring.
Sure.
You know, that's the way it's compared, right, Ramachandra?
No, I did not know that. Joy, now I know.
Yeah, so Satya Yuga is spring. Treta Yuga is summer. Dwapara Yuga is fall. And Kali Yuga is winter.
Got it. Any questions from our viewers here? Okay. So if there's no questions, no comments, and no discussions, let me try to read some Prabhupada's books then. What book would you like? Jagannath Das Prabhu?
We were talking about the
Which
nectar
one?
of instruction yesterday, so that might be appropriate.
Okay, sure. Let me pull it up. PrabhupadaBooks.com. Nectar of instruction. Okay, let's start with the preface. Are you ready, Prabhu? Would you like to read?
Okay.
Sure, thanks. Okay. There we go.
The Krishna consciousness movement is conducted under the supervision of Srila Rupa Goswami. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas or Bengali Vaishnavas are mostly followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of whom the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan are direct disciples. Therefore, Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur has sung Rupa Raghunath Pade Hai. I'm very bad at reading Sanskrit. Ha Abe Akuti Kabe Hama Uj Haba Se Yugala Priti.
Yes.
When I am eager to understand the literature given by the Goswamis, then I shall be able to understand the transcendental loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in order to bestow upon human society the benediction of the science of Krishna. The most exalted of all activities of Lord Krishna are his pastimes of conjugal love with the gopis. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the mood of Srimati Radharani, the best of the gopis. Therefore, to understand the mission of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and follow in his footsteps, one must very seriously follow in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis, Sri Rupa, Sanatana, Bhatta Raghunatha, Sri Jiva, Gopalabhatta, and Dasa Raghunatha. Sri Rupa Goswami was the leader of all the Goswamis, and to guide our activities.
1 second, Prabhu. I clicked on something. Took me out. There we go. Sri Rupa Goswami right here.
Sri Rupa Goswami was the leader of all the Goswamis, and to guide our activities, he gave us the Upadeshamrita, the nectar of instruction, to follow. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left behind him the 8 verses known as the Shikshastaka,
Yeah.
Rupa Goswami gave us Upadeshamrita so that we may become pure Vaishnavas. In all spiritual affairs, one's first duty is to control his mind and senses. Unless one controls his mind and senses, one cannot make any advancement in spiritual life. Everyone within this material world is engrossed in the modes of passion and ignorance. One must promote himself to the platform of goodness, sattva guna, by following the instructions of Rupa Goswami, and then everything concerning how to make further progress will be revealed. Advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. A follower of Krishna consciousness movement should become a perfect Goswami. Vaishnavas are generally known as Goswamis. In Vrindavan, this is the title by which the director of each temple is known. One who wants to become a perfect devotee of Krishna must become a Goswami. Go means the senses. Swami means the master. Unless one controls his senses and mind, one cannot become a Goswami. To achieve the highest success in life by becoming a Goswami and then a pure devotee of the Lord, one must follow the instructions known as Upadeshamrita, which have been given by Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami has given many other books, such as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Vidagda Madhava, Lalita Madhava. But Upadeshamrita constitutes the first instructions for the neophyte devotees. One should follow these instructions very strictly. Then it will be easier to make one's life successful. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Jai.
Krishna conscious advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. What does that actually mean? Attitude can, what kind of attitude?
Not taking it lightly.
Huh?
Being serious.
Oh, okay. Being serious. Okay. That is one thing. Let's see. Let me look up attitude. How does Prabhupada use the word attitude? Let's see. All right. Let's see. Let me share the screen. Okay. This is a letter to Hayagriva and Upendra. My dear Upendra, I have received your very nice letter, and I thank you very much. You're a very good boy, and your humble and service attitude will be very much appreciated by Krishna. And by this appreciation, I'm sure you'll be able to make great advancement. Always chant Hare Krishna. If you have any questions, I shall be glad to have them from you. I'm very glad that you are cleansing my room daily. I will always pray for you. Don't be under the influence of Maya. Hope this will find you all right. I am your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So,
Does
go ahead.
dupa mean service? What does dupa mean? Nice
Dupa?
letter and dupe.
I think it means, let's look it up. It's a good question. What does Prabhupada say here?
Dupe is incense.
Incense.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, dupe is incense. Exactly. Okay, let's try. Let's see. So we looked up the word attitude. Prabhupada is using it in context. You are a very nice good boy, and your humble behavior and service attitude will be very much appreciated by Krishna. What else? How does Prabhupada use the word attitude? Okay. And Prabhupada goes to say here, this is a letter to Guru Das. Therefore, in the beginning, they are not appreciated by our materially conditioned senses. But as we go on chanting Hare Krishna with service mood and attitude, the name qualities become revealed as reality. For the unbeliever, Krishna and his name are fictitious, but those who are advanced in Krishna consciousness realize that Krishna consciousness is pure and eternal. I'm very glad that you are gradually realizing these truths. I very much appreciate your attempt for a photo book for the Sankirtan movement. I have 100% support for your noble attempt, and I am sure Hayagriva will be able to help you in this respect, as he has so many facts at his disposal. I also will try to send some photos. Okay, so we looked up the word attitude. Now let's continue reading then. Unless you have any questions, Prabhu, or comments. Okay, let's go to the preface. We read this part. Why is it going back here? Let's go back. Rupa, can you chant the Sanskrit, Prabhu? Or try?
Sure, but I can't. It's not on the screen right now.
Oh, sorry. Okay, there you go. Here we go.
Vacho vegam manasaha krodha vegam jiva vegam udaropasta vegam etan vegan yovishahitadiraha sarvam apimam prithvim sa sisyat.
Translation: a sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Try. Okay, then Prabhupada explains the purport or the verse. Rupa, can you read the first paragraph?
Sure.
Thank you.
In Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj placed a number of intelligent questions before Sukadev Goswami. One of these questions was, why do people undergo atonement if they cannot control their senses? For instance, a thief may know perfectly well that he may be arrested for his stealing, and he may actually even see a thief arrested by the police, yet he continues to steal. Experience is gathered by hearing and seeing. One who is less intelligent gathers experience by seeing, and one who is more intelligent gathers experience by hearing. When an intelligent person hears from the law books and shastras or scriptures that stealing is not good, and hears that a thief is punished when arrested, he refrains from theft. A less intelligent person may first have to be arrested and punished for stealing to learn to stop stealing. However, a rascal, a foolish man, may have the experience of both hearing and seeing and may even be punished, but still he continues to steal. Even if such a person atones and is punished by the government, he will again commit theft as soon as he comes out of jail. If punishment in jail is considered atonement, what is the benefit of such atonement? Thus, Parikshit Maharaj inquired. Should I keep going?
Sure, yeah.
He compared atonement to an elephant's bathing. The elephant may take a very nice bath in the river, but as soon as it comes onto the bank, it throws dirt all over its body. What then is the value of its bathing? Similarly, many spiritual practitioners chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and at the same time commit many forbidden things, thinking that their chanting will counteract their offenses. Of the 10 types of offenses one can commit while chanting the holy name of the Lord, this offense is called Namno Baladyasya Hi Papa Buddhi, committing sinful activities on the strength of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Similarly, certain Christians go to church to confess their sins, thinking that confessing their sins before a priest and performing some penance will relieve them from the results of their weekly sins. As soon as Saturday is over and Sunday comes, they again begin their sinful activities, expecting to be forgiven next Saturday. This kind of prayaschita or atonement is condemned by Parikshit Maharaj, the most intelligent king of his time. Sukadev Goswami, equally intelligent, as befitting the spiritual master of Maharaj Parikshit, answered the king and confirmed that his statement concerning atonement was correct. A sinful activity cannot be counteracted by a pious activity. Thus, real prayaschita atonement is the awakening of our dormant Krishna consciousness.
Right. Okay. I guess I'll read this paragraph. Real atonement involves coming to real knowledge, and for this there is a standard process. When one follows a regulative hygienic process, he does not fall sick. A human being is meant to be trained according to certain principles to revive his original knowledge. Such is a methodical life is described as tapasya. One can be gradually elevated to the standard of real knowledge or Krishna consciousness by practicing austerity and celibacy, brahmacharya, by controlling the mind, by controlling the senses, by giving up one's possessions in charity, by being avowedly truthful, by keeping clean, by practicing yoga asanas. However, if one is fortunate enough to get association of a pure devotee, he can easily surpass all practices for controlling the mind by the mystic yoga process, simply following the regulative principles of Krishna consciousness, refraining from illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and by engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master. This easy process is being recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami. Jagannath Das Prabhu, can you read this part?
One moment. First, one must control his speaking power. Every one of us has the power of speech. As soon as we get an opportunity, we begin to speak. If we do not speak about Krishna consciousness, we speak about all sorts of nonsense. A toad in a field speaks by croaking, and similarly, everyone who has a tongue wants to speak. even if all he has to say is nonsense. The croaking of the toad, however, simply invites the snake. Please come here and eat me. Nevertheless, although it is an inviting death, the toad goes on croaking. The talking of materialistic men and impersonalist Mayavadi philosophers may be compared to the croaking of frogs. They are always speaking nonsense and thus inviting death to catch them. Controlling speech, however, does not mean self-imposed silence, the external process of mauna. As Mayavadi philosophers think, silence may appear helpful for some time, but ultimately it proves a failure. The meaning of controlled speech conveyed by Srila Rupa Goswami advocates the positive process of Krishna Katha, engaging in the speaking process of glorifying the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. The tongue can thus glorify the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. The preacher of Krishna Katha is always beyond the clutches of death. This is the significance of controlling the urge to speak. The restlessness of fickleness of the mind, manovega, is controlled when one can fix his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. The Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Krishna Surya Sama Maha Maya Haya Andakara Yahari Krishna Tahari Nahi Mayara Adhikara. Krishna is just like the sun, and Maya is just like darkness. In the sun, if the sun is present, there is no question of darkness. Similarly, if Krishna is present in the mind, there is no possibility of the mind's being agitated by Maya's influence. The yogic process of negating all material thoughts will not help. To try to create a vacuum in the mind is artificial. The vacuum will not remain. However, if one always thinks of Krishna and how to serve Krishna best, one's mind will naturally be controlled.
You want to go on, Prabhu?
Sure.
Thanks.
Similarly, anger can be controlled. We cannot stop anger altogether, but if we simply become angry with those who blaspheme the Lord or the devotees of the Lord, we can control our anger in Krishna consciousness. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became angry with the miscreant brothers of Jagai and Madai, who blasphemed, thank you, blasphemed and struck Nityananda Prabhu in his Shikshastaka. Lord Chaitanya wrote, Trinad api suni chena taror api sahishnuna. One should be humbler than the grass and more tolerant than the tree. One may then ask why the Lord exhibited his anger. The point is that one should be ready to tolerate all insults to one's own self. But when Krishna or his pure devotee is blasphemed, a genuine devotee becomes angry and acts like fire against the offenders. Krodha, anger, cannot be stopped, but it can be applied rightly. It was in anger that Hanuman set fire to Lanka, but he is worshipped as the greatest devotee of Lord Ramachandra. This means that he utilized his anger in the right way. Arjuna serves as another example. He was not willing to fight, but Krishna incited his anger. You must fight. To fight without anger is not possible. Anger is controlled, however, when utilized in the service of the Lord. That video you sent earlier, Ramachandra Prabhu, of those two kind of, what were they, punk artists?
Yeah.
I liked at the end of the video, the one guy was like, if any of those guys talks about Prabhupada like that to my face, I'm gonna
knock his teeth out or something. He said.
Yeah, it's quite good. It's a good
Right.
example of this.
Okay, the police is in town, I guess. Okay. All right. He turned off his microphone. Okay. Where are we? Okay. We're right here. Okay. I'll read this part. As for the urges of the tongue, we all experience that the tongue wants to eat palatable dishes. Generally, we should not allow the tongue to eat according to its choice, but should control the tongue by supplying prasada. The devotee's attitude is that he will eat only when Krishna gives him prasad. That is the way to control the urge of the tongue. One should take prasad at scheduled times and should not eat in restaurants or sweetmeat shops simply to satisfy the whims of the tongue or belly. If we stick to the principle of taking only prasada, the urges of the belly and tongue can be controlled. In the similar manner, the urges of the genitals, the sex impulse, can be controlled when not used unnecessarily. The genitals should be used to beget Krishna-conscious child. Otherwise, they should not be used. The Krishna-conscious movement encourages marriage not for the satisfaction of the genitals, but for begetting of Krishna-conscious children. As soon as the children are little grown up, they are sent to our Gurukul school, where they are trained to be fully Krishna-conscious devotees. Many such Krishna-conscious children are required, and one who is capable of bringing forth Krishna-conscious offspring is allowed to utilize his genitals. When one is fully practiced in the methods of Krishna-conscious control, he can become qualified to be a bona fide spiritual master. In his Anuvriti explanation of Upadeshamrita, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes that our material identification creates three kinds of urges: the urge to speak, the urge or demands of the mind, and the demands of the body. When a living entity falls victim to these three types of urges, his life becomes inauspicious. One who practices resisting these demands or urges is called a tapasvi, or one who practices austerities. By such tapasya, one can overcome victimization by the material energy, the external potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, let's see here. Let me just see if we have any questions online. Attitude means surrender. Yes, Prabhupada said in the letter, yes, attitude means surrender. That is right. That is the right attitude. Try to find out the truth by approaching a bona fide spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively with the service attitude. That is the right attitude. Okay, let's continue reading. When we refer to the urge to speak, we refer to useless talking, such as that of the impersonal Mayavadi philosophers or of persons engaged in fruitive activities, technically called karma kanda, or of materialistic people who simply want to enjoy life without restriction. All such talks or literatures are practical exhibitions of the urge to speak. Many people are talking nonsensically and writing volumes of useless books, and all these is a result of the urge to speak. To counteract this tendency, we have to divert our talking to the subject of Krishna. This is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all-perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. Let's see. On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed towards bringing into a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard and sung and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. The conclusion is that only when we talk about devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead can we refrain from useless nonsensical talk. We should always endeavor to use our speaking power solely for the purpose of realizing Krishna consciousness. Jagannath Das Prabhu, is it okay if you can read?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, thanks.
As for the agitations of the bickering mind, they are divided into two divisions. The first is called aviroda priti, or unrestricted attachment, and the other is called viroda yukta krodha, anger arising from frustration. Adherence to the philosophy of the Mayavadis, belief in the fruitive results of karmavadis, and belief in plans based on materialistic desires are called aviroda priti. Jnanis, karmis, and materialistic plan makers generally attract the attention of conditioned souls, but when the materialists cannot fulfill their plans and when the devotees are frustrated, they become angry. Frustration of material desires produces anger.
You said devotees become angry?
Did I miss something up?
Devices, their devices.
Oh, sorry. Fulfill their plans, and when their devices are frustrated, they become angry. Frustration of material desires produces anger.
Right.
Similarly, the demands of the body can be divided into three categories: the demands of the tongue, the belly, and the genitals. One may observe that these three senses are physically situated in a straight line as far as the body is concerned, and that the bodily demands begin with the tongue. If one can restrain the demands of the tongue by limiting its activities to the eating of prasada, the urges of the belly and the genitals can automatically be controlled. In this connection, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, O Lord, this material body is a lump of ignorance, and the senses are a network of paths leading to death. Somehow or other, we have fallen into the ocean of material sense enjoyment, and of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and uncontrollable. It is very difficult to conquer the tongue in this world, but you, dear Krishna, are very kind to us. You have sent us this nice prasada to help us conquer the tongue. Therefore, let us take this prasad to our full satisfaction and glorify your lordships, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, and in love call for the help of Lord Chaitanya and Prabhu Nityananda. There are 6 kinds of rasas, tastes, and if one is agitated by any of them, he becomes controlled by the urges of the tongue. Some persons are attracted to the eating of meat, fish, crabs, eggs, and other things produced by semina and blood and eaten in the form of dead bodies. Others are attracted by eating vegetables, creepers, spinach, or milk products, but all for the satisfaction of the tongue's demands. Such eating for sense gratification, including the use of extra quantities of spices like chili and tamarind, is to be given up by Krishna-conscious persons. The use of pan, haritaki, betel nuts, various spices used in pan making, tobacco, LSD, marijuana, opium, liquor, coffee, and tea is indulged in to fulfill illicit demands. If we can practice accepting only remnants of food offered to Krishna, it is possible to get free from Maya's victimization. Vegetables, grains, fruits, milk products, and water are proper foods to offer to the Lord, as Lord Krishna himself prescribes. However, if one accepts prasad only because of its palatable tastes and thus eats too much, he also falls prey to trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us to avoid very palatable dishes even while eating prasad. If we offer palatable dishes to the deity with the intention of eating such nice food, we are involved in trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue. If we accept the invitation of a rich man with the idea of receiving palatable food, we are also trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is stated, that person who runs here and there seeking to satisfy his palate and who is always attached to the desires of his stomach and genitals is unable to attain Krishna. As stated before, the tongue and belly and genitals are all situated in a straight line and they fall in the same category. Lord Chaitanya has said, do not dress luxuriously and do not eat delicious foodstuffs. Those who suffer from diseases of the stomach must be able to control the urges of the belly, at least according to this analysis. When we desire to eat more than necessary, we automatically create many inconveniences in life. However, if we observe fasting days like Ekadashi, and Janmastami, we can restrain the demands of the belly.
Okay, so why not let's stop there? We got about 10 minutes. And if there's any questions from our devotees here live, and let me just see online if there's any more discussion. We got 2 people here, Arka, Samantha, and who is this other person? Someone named Maitreya. So thank you for joining. If you want to ask a question or introduce yourself, you're surely welcome to. Okay. There's no questions online. Hare Krishna Prabhus, you guys helped a lot. Thanks for all your efforts. Okay. Thank you very much for your comment. You can.
Why not offer some suggestion for what they can do?
Yeah. I was saved from ISKCON system because of you guys. That's interesting. Well, maybe you can speak about your experience in, the present day ISKCON, if you want. Are you in India or where are you? Okay. I was in New Zealand when I got introduced. Okay. Is it a possibility that you can speak on audio, or do you prefer to type? I can speak with you, permission. Yes, you can speak here on the Zoom. So you're in New Zealand. Or do you want to speak personally? Anyways, you can join the WhatsApp group and then I'm there, or you can, I'll send you my contact information and then you can call me. Oh, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I just trying to, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine. Yes, Prabhu.
Oh, yeah. So, very good, very good. Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, yeah, I just joined your WhatsApp group, and I was actually watching your other video. I didn't know that it is going live, so I just went on the group. Oh, you cannot see. So I just watching on the laptop some other episode, and then all of a sudden I went to the group and I just find out that there's something live going on, so I joined. So yeah. So do you want me to like share my experience now?
Sure.
Or?
Yes.
Sure. All right. So yeah, so I was born in India, and at 25 I went to New Zealand. 8 years I was just I studied and worked there, and then somehow I stumbled upon a book of Srila Prabhupada. With their mercy, I of course going through some stressful time, I opened the book, and every day I just ask Krishna, ask Prabhupada that if it is all true, whatever I need to know now, please reveal. So I just opened the book, and every day it was like, just coming what I needed to hear that day. So that's how, then I quit meat eating and, whatever is required. And then after reading maybe a couple of months, I saw a devotee distributing books in Auckland. And then I just, lie down on the ground flat and then, ask him for more books. And like, he was Deva Mitra Swami's student. So, just hold on. Sure. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Sorry, that's my parents arrived. So yeah. So where was I? So I then.
You got a book from a Devamrita Swami's disciple, and then you went to the ISKCON temple or something?
Yeah. So I got the book from somebody who had the book for last 8-9 years and didn't read. So that was yeah. And then after reading the Bhagavad Gita, then I found the devotee distributing books, and then I went to him, approached him, and then I got more books, and then got some association in Auckland. and then yeah, and then I wanted to get initiated like there because it was yeah, but then somehow COVID hit, and I just came back to India, to family, and then I started a center of ISKCON because there was no center in Rewari, there was no association. I looked out for some devotees. All I knew is ISKCON. We opened like a center with them at my father's place, and then in a few days, because a lot of people started coming. There is a lot of potential, I think, everywhere, but in India too. So, and then 8 months after running the center, they opened a bigger center. So that time I was aspiring to maybe get initiated, and then I found out about I think from you guys or ISKM, like from internet, I find out about the Ritvik, what Prabhupada system wanted, the officiating Acharya system, and then I've been like 7-8 months. I've been studying, researching, and listening and everything regarding this only. So from ISKCON Bangalore to ISKM to give Gita to you and to and then like it is so obvious and so painful to see that all the devotees, some of them are sincere in ISKCON, the new generation, but just because they don't know and they've been programmed like that, it is so painful to see that they're serving but just going in the wrong but I'm so happy, and I want to dedicate my life to just get this thing out, and just inspiring to see you guys, like so many people, you are awakening like that. So I think hopefully I'll be able to. I just went to give Gita to spend like 2 weeks there, because they are also following the same kind of system, Prabhupada system. So I stayed there for 2 weeks, and they are like the devotees there. That was my main thing, because I was associated with ISKCON devotees, but I didn't know how the devotees would act or react, or how they follow the process of Prabhupada's, if it's practical or not, like like life, like by living with them, by seeing them every day. But I'm so glad that I went to give Gita, and I stayed there for 2 weeks, and they are like pretty much, they are spot on, like they're very, very sincere, and following the system, the morning program, the evening program, everything, and they're preaching very good. And then and then same.
What's your name, Prabhu? What's your name?
My name is Deepak. And then I went to ISKCON Bangalore people as well. They've got a branch in Jaipur. So and then they are also, when I saw them, I mean, it just blew my mind. They are so sincere, like it's everything is there, Prabhupada. And then all of them, they've got so much, the preaching mood is just like Prabhupada's time. And I think they're so respectful of one another, and whoever comes new, and they've got like programs, so unique programs, like where college students come and learn about Krishna consciousness, and they can study at the same time, and they can practice. I mean, they just they did it so well. So it was good to see that the Prabhupada system is like much more viable and much more like possible to do for like decades and decades, and maybe thousands of years to come, instead of like what they're doing now in ISKCON, like with the politics, like who is the guru, if has got more follower, then they get the higher kind of attention. And I think the ego is start kicking in, like while they're preaching, they're putting down, like recently I used to listen to a lot of Amog Lila Prabhu in India. He's preaching, but I saw a video where he was putting down like the ISKCON Bangalore system, that only the Madhu Dvisa, Madhu Prabhu, Madhu Pandit, when they are gone, their system will follow, will acquire their ISKCON temple and all that kind of stuff. It was so like I looked up to him. So I see that on subtle level how bad the ego is kicking in. So but and at the end, it's just basically the what Prabhupada wanted. That's it. What the Guru wanted. So I also want to dedicate my life. Hopefully, I'll be able to do something. But you guys inspired me, because you talk in such details, like while discussing letters, and while it's just I'm just so like grateful and indebted to Nirnayan Prabhu and you, and
Jai, so welcome. You're very welcome. Participate and share your realizations, and also help guide us also. So you are seeing from the inside in India, so and then you're expressing yourself. So in this way, other Indians who are on the fence, sitting on the fence, they can see, oh, this is this is what actually Prabhupada wanted.
Yeah.
The real
Thank you
is-
for sharing. It was great to hear.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Jai. What's your mother tongue? Is it Hindi?
Yeah. My mother tongue is Hindi. Yeah.
What's your last name?
Mehendi Ratta, Deepak Mehendi Ratta.
Acha. Oh, your family, they're devotees, or they're aspiring to be Krishna devotees, or?
Yeah. So, just in India, like every family is, they haven't got like any knowledge. Nobody's got any knowledge. Like, just do the basic puja, arati, and everything they do in Indian household. Like, just we've got everything on the altar. So then just like the same process they do, but slowly I think, I've made a few people, my brother, a few people chanting, and then they're listening to kathas and everything. Slowly they are coming, I think. Yeah.
Excellent. So just by you becoming devotee, others are seeing and then appreciating, and they're taking up the path, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, some of them starting Hare Krishna mantra. I just wanted to, clarify. And I clarified from them, like, how do you see, because Prabhupada is in Aprakat Leela, so unmanifested Leela, I should say. So then, how do you reciprocate, like, with Prabhupada? Like, is that an issue with you guys and stuff like that? So they told me that, Prabhupada come, like a lot of devotees, Prabhupadjis come in their dreams. And then the second thing is just when you follow, when you listen to Prabhupada's lecture, read the books, and when you're doing what he's what he has said, then you just automatically feel like, from inside, like the happiness that arrives. You just know that, he's feeling happy. And then other devotees, they come and tell you, like, Prabhupada's tell them from their voice, like,
Yeah,
So that
Prabhupada
is-
says that, if your heart is pure, then, Krishna directly reciprocates. So that is not, you're already part and parcel of Krishna. And so what's the difficulty?
Sure. Very well.
You are a
Exactly.
spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. So,
Exactly.
and Prabhupada is his pure devotee representative. So why cannot Prabhupada appear to devotees in dreams and, from other devotees who are, instructing each other? So,
Exactly.
okay, so we're at 10 o'clock, a little over 10 o'clock now. Narayan Prabhu, any concluding words? Then we're...
No, I'm very impressed by everybody talking and speaking. I want to encourage everyone that we will create a Prabhupada-centered movement, and that is the only movement that will last for 10,000 years. And I think if we stop to think of it very carefully, we will see that nothing other than Prabhupada-centered will last 10,000 years.
Jai. Deepak Prabhu is Deepak, right?
Yeah,
Everybody else is off in the woods.
All right, Deepak. Thank you, Prabhu, for joining and sharing your experience. And
Thank
then
you so
please
much.
join us.
Sure.
Hare
It was all of
Krishna.
fun. Yeah. If you
Jai,
see,
come back many times
Hare
to join us. We enjoy
Hare
your energy and your consciousness.
How old are you, by the way, Prabhu?
I'm 34 now. If you see, with the name Sanatan Prem, like I used to leave a lot of comments. I just write like Krishna Narayan. I just like write the names, multiply by infinite. So I've been watching a lot of your videos, but it was just all of a sudden that I just clicked, and then it was going live, and you asked me. And
Wow.
but
That was a very fortunate click. Better you are being in person than by writing.
Excellent. So, Prabhu, thank you very much. And we'll again have a meeting on Sunday, but Sunday night is Monday morning for you. So please join us if you can, or, anytime you'd like. Join the WhatsApp group. And then if you have any questions, comments, you can contact Narayan Prabhu, myself, or anyone else here, Jagannath. Prabhu.
That's so kind. So kind.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories.
Jai. Hare Krishna.